Hello lovelies, it's been a while and you're welcome back to my YouTube channel. Based on popular demand, we're going to be learning how to make this sequence padded turban design. Now if you're new to this channel and you haven't subscribed, please kindly do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we'll have lots of amazing tutorials awaiting you. And all our old subscribers who have been following us back to back, thank you so much. You guys are the reason why I'm here today. Now in this tutorial, the materials used include sequence fabric, of which 1 yard will be enough, your foam, your scissors, your measuring tape, as well as your matching color of thread and needle. Now this design which you are working on is a sequence to band cap. So we are going to be creating the band from the same fabric which is going to be used from the base. Now there's this padded design attached on it. It's two. Okay, the first one goes completely around the turban cap, and then the second padded design is sitting at the middle of the turban cap. The first padded design is to be inserted into the second padded design, and everything is now attached to the turban cap. You can make it detachable, you can also make it non-detachable. It depends on what you prefer. So that is it for that. Now starting the tutorial, I have the sequence fabric for my turban cap right here. Now the measurement for this fabric is 26 inches for the length, which is the head circumference, and on fold it is 13 inches, while for the width it is 18 inches. So 13 inches on fold by 18 inches, or better still 26 inches by 18 inches for the turban cap. Now coming over to the first padded design that will go around the cap, I'm using 28 inches for the length and then 7.5 inches for the width. On fold it is 14 inches by 7.5 inches. And then coming over to the last design that will be at the middle, I'm having 12 inches for the length and then 10 inches for the width. 10 by 12 inches. So that is it for the three pieces of fabric, the three sequence fabric we are going to be using for the design. Coming to the inner part of the design where I'll be padding it, I'm going to be working with 1 inch size of foam. This is the one that goes around the head, and the measurement is 25 by 3.5 inches. And then coming over to the one that will be at the middle, the measurement is 13 inches for the length by 8 inches for the width. 13 by 8. Now right before me, I have the fabric for my turban cap. To start with, I'm going to fold in the edge inside in order to create the band. You can fold in by 2 inches, 2.5 or 3 inches depending on what you want. So I'm folding in by 2 inches, and I'll place on my sewing machine and sew from one end to the other. Okay, now I'll get the fabric for the first padding. I will fold it into 2 equal halves with the fine side inside and the wrong side outside, and then I'm going to sew from one end of the fabric down to the other end, then turn the fabric inside out. And then for the last fabric, the smallest fabric for the middle part, now I will start by folding in both edges. Okay, this part I'll fold it down as you see me doing the video and sew down from one edge to the other. Now having done that, I have the first fabric sewn. This is the wrong side. I'll go back to turn it inside out, and thereafter I'll go ahead to pass my foam inside the fabric. Okay, and then coming over to the other design. Okay, that is for my middle part. I've folded in the edges and I've sewn it down as you can see. So I will now go ahead to fold my fabric into 2 equal halves again, and then I'm going to stitch it down from one end of the fabric to the other end. Now that I have my turban cap, the band, I folded in by 2 inches and I've sewn it from one. So I'll set this aside until when we get to where it will be needed. Now at this point, I'm going to get the fabric for the middle part of my design. I've folded it into 2 and I've sewn it. So I will go ahead to turn this inside out, and I have it this way. Now I have my foam here, and I'll fold my foam into 2 equal halves, and then after folding it into 2 equal halves, I'm going to insert it into my fabric. Okay, so That is it. I'm placing my foam inside my fabric as you see me do. As soon as that is done, I'll set it in place properly. So as soon as we're done with that, this is how it looks like. I'm going to set this aside while we continue with the tutorial. Now, I have the fabric, the full padding fabric that will be going around the turban cap. I've inserted my foam in it, and I'm now going to get both pieces of padded design and place the longer one inside. I'll pass it through the shorter fabric, and then ensure that that short padded fabric is going to be at the middle of the longest fabric. Okay, now we're doing two different padded designs on the turban cap. The shorter one is staying at the middle while we pass the longer one through the shorter fabric. So this is it, and then this is how it looks like. We have the design at the middle. Then after working on this, we're going to get our turban cap. Okay, that is the fabric for the turban base. You see me placing it on my working surface. Thereafter, I will get the already made design and place on it. Then you set your fabric, ensure that the middle of the design aligns with the middle of the cap. Everything should be in place properly, and then you can now get your pins and pin the design to the cap, so that when you are sewing, it will be much more easier for you, so that the fabric does not displace itself, and then everything becomes difficult for you. So I'm now using my pins to pin down the design to the fabric, and I will do this round the fabric until I'm done. Then I'll get back for us to continue. Okay, as soon as I'm done pinning the fabric to the pinning both pieces of fabric together, the next thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be trimming the excess foam that is inside my fabric. Now I'm trimming it off a bit so that there can be allowance at the edge of my fabric for stitching. So I'll adjust my fabric in, and then I'll cut off about 2 inches, about 2 to 3 inches of excess foam out of the fabric, so that I can have allowance for sewing. Now after doing that, I'm going to fold my fabric into two as you see me doing, and then I will take this down to my sewing machine and start sewing from the band down to the edge of the cap. So from the band all the way down to the cap, and I'll do that and get back. Now this is my work. I've already started from the band, and as you can see, I've made my sewing stitch all through to the very end. So what we'll be doing next is that we'll be making the running stitch. But before then, remember that the head circumference we were working with initially was 26 inches, which is by far bigger than the adult head size circumference. So what I will do is that you measure your client's head circumference. Let's assume you are working with 22 inches for your client. So on fold, it will be about 11 inches or 11.5 inches, depending on what your head circumference is on fold. Now you mark it and sew from that point. Just watch the way my hand is going, so that you get, we are now trying to create a backdrop effect at the back. So you sew from the edge to the end of the band. Now watch, I've sewn down that edge to the edge of the band. So that is how it is. That is how to create that backdrop effect from the turban cap. Now I can get my needle and thread, and then I'll start making my running stitch. The running stitch is going to be coming immediately after the band, and I'm going to make it from that point immediately after the band to the very end where I had sewn. So just start by passing your needle and thread in and out. You keep passing it in and out a couple of times until you get to the end. Then you go ahead to secure your thread, and then cut off the excess thread. So as soon as we are done with that, that is the edge with gathers, and then we'll flip it inside out to the fine side. So as you can see, we have the turban cap with the design. Now the design is free from the turban cap. So if you want it to stick to the turban cap, you can go ahead to either tack it down using your needle and thread. You tack down the design down to the turban cap so as to help you hold it in place and prevent the design from falling off. But if you like it the way it is, you can go ahead to leave it. So that's it for that design. I'll place this on the dummy head to show us the final outlook. Thank you so much for watching. This brings us to the end of this tutorial. Please kindly do well to follow us on our social media platforms on Facebook and on Instagram as Jenny Concept. Please don't also forget to like, to share, and to leave a comment in the comment section. If you have questions or tutorials which you'd like us to upload, please kindly let us know. Until our next tutorial, bye bye.